Hey, what's going on, chess lovers? This is Maurice Bishop Chess. Y'all know my slogan: "Life is a game of chess." Hey, sorry about that, guys. I had my stuff just stop. Um, I'm trying to make sure it's not going to stop and everything. So I just want to make sure that we're good and on the same page. All right, all right, guys. All right. So let's see if I can fix this. All right, there we go. All right, so everybody should see my screen this time, so it's actually showing. All right, all right, guys. So as I was saying, what I want to show y'all in this stream is I want to show y'all, how I defeat opponents or strong opponents with the early H5. And as I was saying, I'm getting tongue tied today, guys. As I was saying, a lot of y'all see my videos of me playing the L shot system, and with the L shot system, we do the early H3 and G5 moves, and if you're playing the for white L shot, or if you're black, your early H6 and G5, pawn moves. In this case, this would be the early H5 pawn moves. But before I do these H pawn moves, I want to develop some pieces. Also, as well as I want to do it when my opponent usually goes G3. And usually when they go G3, they want to fanchetto their bishop. And a lot of times they want to castle kingside. This is the whole purpose. So I want to give y'all an example. In this game, I played online. One of my opponent played G3. E5 is played, C4, D6, and then bishop G2. All right. And what I do is I just develop my pieces. Knight C6, he goes knight F3, and then this is where the early H5 pawn move I play. I play H5. The crazy part is when you're playing like bullet chess or 3-minute chess, it's crazy how you don't get a lot of H4 pawn moves. Some people do it. I would think some people would like to play it, but a lot of times when I play, like they don't get this H2 H4 pawn move, so it doesn't happen. So usually if they go D4, I just go H4. Now the whole purpose of this is I want to open up the H file. And I've been playing this a lot. And this could be a sound sacrifice. This could be, call it what y'all want to call it. But I've been getting a lot of luck with this, though. So knight catches H4. I go rook catches H4. He takes, and then queen catches H4. All right. D5 is played. I immediately go knight D4. All right. So after knight d4, he goes bishop e3, and I go knight f5, hitting the dark square bishop on e3. Obviously, guys, if he does some moves like knight c3, this would be wrong because I can immediately take this dark square bishop, and this pawn cannot take back due to the queen is pinning this pawn. So the move that he played is he goes back to bishop d2. When he goes back to bishop d2, I play the move knight f6, developing my pieces, and I'm threatening knight g4. Notice how even though I'm down a rook, you might as well say it's like tied because he can move his rook, but this rook cannot move. It's like this rook is out of the game. And I seem to be developing my pieces a lot faster than he is. So it's just pretty crazy. So he goes queen c1. Obviously, I'm pretty sure he wants to go bishop g5. So I decide to go knight g4, where I'm hitting queen captures f2. Rook f1 is played, and I go queen captures h2, where I am threatening the light square bishop. So you see how, again, guys, opening the H file could be very, very dangerous. Opening the H file could be very, very dangerous, guys. And this is what I do. Bishop f3 is played. I play knight d4. And the thing with knight d4, you know, I'm hitting the light square bishop, but also if he decides to take, I could take back with bishop captures f3, where I'm actually putting pressure on the e pawn. All right. So he takes, and I take back with the bishop, and now I'm putting pressure. And it's not like he could go f3 because queen captures e2 is checkmate. So what does he do? He develops and defends at the same time by going knight c3. I go bishop h3, hitting the rook. You know, I figure I could just get a piece back, so might as well just go rook or bishop h3. You know, so far so good. I mean, I have a very good compensation for the rook, as y'all can see. You know, like I said, if you're gonna play these type of stuff, you got to be tactically aware, guys. Tactically aware and know your material imbalance, all of it. E3 is played. I just played queen g2 because, again, I am threatening queen captures f1 checkmate. So you could just imagine how, you know, controlling the f files and controlling the diagonals, it does a lot of good to you. You know what I mean? So remember that. All right. As you can see here, after this queen g2, my opponent does resign. Because obviously, guys, after he takes this, you know, this is checkmate, and it doesn't matter like where he goes, guys. It's nothing that he can really do. Even if he comes king d1, I mean, if you want to make the game longer, he can. Bishop b1, and then I want to say bishop g4 check, and then if he comes here. Yeah, this is still nasty. Doesn't matter what he does after this. It seems pretty nasty. Bishop f5 check. Yeah, if he comes here, yeah. So guys, as you can just see, I don't gotta keep going through it, but as you can see, this is pretty much a massacre right now. Black is pretty much controlling the whole game, and it all started, guys, with the move h5 h4. All right, he takes, and yes, I'm down a rook, but it's like so much activity, so much mobility, like it's just a lot of things, and I practically get a tempo off of this bishop. Which is why he moves back, knight f6, and then knight g4. So a lot of times when your opponent don't really know what to do, you could just pretty much walk all over him and bully him, and then you know, do what you got to do. So that's why I love it. All right. So let's go to the next game. So this is another one. It's a little bit longer. E3. This was a mistake. I think I did a mistake on this one. I'm not really sure. What is this one? Oh no, I guess not. So I'm not sure why I played E3, but okay. Bishop G7, H4, Knight F6, and then H5. And again, guys, like I told y'all in the prior video, I showed y'all what happened after Knight captures H5. Again, if he does take, I'm automatically going to go rook captures, and then queen captures h5, and then, you know, you're just developing with knight g5 and maybe bishop c4. I'm telling you, it's a fun opening to play. I can't even call it opening because I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know if it's in a book. I mean, I just pretty much played with it and just kept doing it or whatever. But that's how it would go. But in this case, my opponent doesn't go h5. He just castles kingside. I immediately take. He takes, and then I just go d3. E6 is played. I go e4, d5, and then bishop g5. Why do I go bishop g5? Just to put pressure on the knight. But also, with bishop g5, I want to go queen d2 so I can exchange the dark square bishop on h6, which is what I want to do. All right. So when he take, I don't take back. I just go queen d2. The whole purpose is, guys, if he takes, in which he does in a game, if he takes, I just develop with bishop captures d3. So now I'm attacking way more on the king side than anything. And then once I castle queen side, which is the obvious move, which is what I want to do, you know, I can start having a stronger attack. So knight c6, I go bishop a6 right away. He goes knight g4, and I just go bishop captures g7. King captures g7, and I go f3. And I go f3 because I didn't want him to hit me with rook captures f2 or knight captures f2. I wanted to hit this knight back. He goes knight f6, and I go queen a6 check automatically. King g8, and then castle queenside. Now my threat is I want to play knight e4, which is my next threat. In other words, if he goes a5, I want to play knight e4. If he takes queen captures a7, it's checkmate. Obviously, y'all already see that. Obviously, he's not going to play knight captures e4. All right. But in the game, he played queen e7. You know, he figured he could defend the h7 pawn, or maybe go queen g7. I go knight h3, he goes queen g7, and I go queen h4. The number one principle, guys, when you have a strong attack, you want to make sure that you do not trade off queens, trade off your attack. You have pressure on your opponent. Never do that, okay? Knight e5, I go bishop b2, which is another thing because I have an active light square bishop. I'm not going to trade my good light square bishop for this raggedy knight. I'm just not. C6 is played, and then I just go knight g5. Eventually, guys, I want to go knight e4 and then hit on knight captures h7, which is why my opponent just plays h5. But notice when he played h5, he leaves himself with a backward g pawn. You know, so now that's a new target that I have to look at. You know, so anytime when you're making moves, you want to make moves with a purpose. You want to make sure that every move is either threatening or is even causing weakness in your opponent's king. You want to make sure you have these principles locked in your head, because when you have these principles locked in your head, it will be easy for you to make these type of moves. So I go g4. Why do I go g4? Because I want to open up the h file, guys. I want to open up the h file. You know, that's all I love. Open up the h file, open up diagonals, do everything you got to just cause an attack. b5 is played. I automatically take. He takes with the knight, and I go knight e4. I put my knight on a better square. You know, it's just, I mean, I have a lot of options. You know, it's just beautiful, right? Rook f4, lovely move. And I just go back to queen h2. b4, and I go rook d8 check. Why rook d8? Because, guys, where is he going to go after here, right? So he has to go back to rook f8. So after rook f8, I automatically take. He takes, and then I go queen captures d4. So let's go back here, guys. You have to look at the bigger picture. You know, you have to look at everything. So when you see that the rook is here and you have a nice rank up here, and you see that your king can't move anywhere, most likely that rook d8 is going to be a great move. But also, when you look at it, you want to look at everything, not just this check. You want to look at where this knight going to be at, like where the knight going to go. So if you can go rook d8 to put more pressure, you already know that if this was a pawn, you know, he would be checkmated, especially if this rook wasn't here. This would be checkmate. Unfortunately, guys, you know, he can move this rook back. But with that being said, you know, by me taking, you know, really his only option is really to take back with the king. But obviously that didn't happen because, you know, he wound up doing a mistake and took with the queen. And then that's when I got queen captures e5. Another thing is, as you can see here, he does, you know, give up the queen. Not really give up the queen, but he goes for an exchange of the queens, in which this will be a bad move on his part because I am already winning. I'm already up a full piece. So lesson learned: if you're down a piece, your objective is not to exchange queens. You know, that's not your solution. You shouldn't exchange queens at all. So after he does that, I go bishop c4. Now I'm about to win this pawn. So I go, actually, I'm not about to win a pawn, but I do got rook a7 check. And especially because this knight on e4 is preventing him from going to the square. He goes king g8, in which, instead of rook c7, I don't know why I didn't do this, but this was a quicker move, a quicker mate. I think I was low on time. I don't know why I didn't do it. But after king f7, this would have been checkmate. Easy. Simple as that. But obviously, I prolonged the game pretty much by accident. But then after I did that, because I was pre-moving, but then after that, I did what I needed to do. So I just go knight f6, king f8, and then I finally get him in rook f7 checkmate. Simple as that. All right. So again, number one, guys, always develop your pieces as fast as possible. If you're going to attack and your opponent's trying to exchange pieces, do not exchange pieces unless he does some type of counter attack where you're forced to exchange pieces. Then that's a different story. But if you got him under pressure, and he's distressed, you don't want to relieve the pressure. You want to keep that pressure on, but you keep the pressure on without exchanging your attack. All right, without exchanging pieces. All right. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so I played as black on this one. So g3, e5, bishop g2, d6, knight f3, knight c6, he castles, and I go h5. Now, in this case, my opponent plays h4. So I know y'all probably saw me with all the other games where I go h4 or h5, h4 and everything. Now we're going to talk about what happens if they go h4. If they go h4, that's fine. I just go bishop g4. Why do I go bishop g4? Because I want to go queen d7 so I can exchange on the light square bishop. Because once you get the light square bishop, you could cause some type of weakness. I go queen d7. He goes on d5. So he doesn't take. Now, let me show you this. Now, again, like I told you before, if he takes, that's fine with me because then I could castle queenside. If he takes, then I go bishop captures d6. I have a lot more pieces developed. Also, I have a rook on the d file in which it will control that file. So this is something that I want. All right. So, but in this case, d5 is played. I go knight e7, he goes c4, and I castle queenside. Knight c3, bishop h3, knight b5, and then as you see, guys, he is hitting this pawn here on a7, which is a threat, but not really a big threat, which is why I go bishop captures g2. Now, if my opponent decides to go knight captures a7, I can immediately just go king b8. Now, if he decides to come back to knight b5 to save his knight, then this is pretty a nasty move right here. So yeah, if you try to do this, this is mate. Obviously, if he tries to save his piece, again, I could go knight f6 if I want to. Knight g5, it's just, I don't know. I mean, even if he does it, I don't even know why I said knight f6 because this is still mate either way. So it doesn't really matter. But that's hope chess, that's like hope chess and everything. But yeah, after knight b5, he actually takes my light square bishop, and I go king b8 to make sure that he's not taking his pawn. a4, I go knight h6. Now, usually in this position, a lot of people don't know what to do in this position. Why knight h6? The reason for knight h6, guys, is because eventually I want to go knight f5 and maybe do a sack on knight catches h4. But however, I want to go queen g4. I want to utilize that. All right. So b4 is played. I go queen g4, bishop e3, and now I just go a6. He goes knight a7, and I go knight f5, hitting the dark square bishop. But also, guys, I have an opportunity to go knight g6 if I want to. So there's a lot of possibilities. b5. So the thing is, guys, when your opponent is actually, hitting you with attacks, you just need to calm down. You need to just look at the whole position and see if you can get the attack, a lot faster than he can. All right. So I just go knight captures e3. Why I go knight captures e3? Because number one, that dark square bishop is very active. It can do a lot of things, but also, guys, I'll be able to take off his pieces. And remind you, there is a principle with this. If 3 or more pieces are surrounding your opponent's, or in other words, if 3 or more pieces are surrounding your king, or whatever, then that person can have an attack on you. So by me eliminating his dark square bishop, as well as getting ready to eliminate, maybe his knight or whatever, I will have a very strong attack. But I don't really have to take off the knight due to the fact that I have an attack. All right. So knight captures e3, f captures e3, and then I hit him with knight f5. Why knight f5? Because I have two threats coming in. I have queen captures g3 check coming in, but I also have knight captures e3 with a check, forking the king and the queen. So that's a big threat right there. All right. Queen d3, he defends this. So then I hit him with the move e4. I don't want to go queen captures g3 right away if I can put even more pressure on my opponent, which is why I hit him with e4. So queen b5 is played. I go queen captures g3 check. He goes king h1, and then I go e captures f3. Why e captures f3? Because I'm threatening checkmate on g2. All right. He does take, and then I go queen catches h4 check. He goes king g2, and then I go rook h6. Now, you're probably wondering what happens if he takes this pawn, which, of course, guys, my opponent does do that. I go rook g6 check, and after this, it's kind of really nothing that you could really do in this position, in which he's kind of forced to do this, but he didn't have to do it. He could have just resigned, or he could have just, I don't know. Either way, this is just a no-brainer. This is pretty much checkmate. All right. All right, guys. Cause if he would have came here, like maybe like in this position, maybe here, he does run into this problem. Queen h1 check. If he goes king f2, then rook g2 is checkmate. All right. All right, guys, go to another one. All right, so this is another one, guys. Knight f3, d6, g3, e5, bishop g2, knight c6, castles, and then h5. d4 is played, and I played h4 right away. My opponent plays d captures e5. I immediately go h captures g3. When you play this type of stuff on your opponent, if you could get your h5 to h4, you are golden. You should be smiling from ear to ear, especially when they don't even take the pawn with the knight. You should be smiling from ear to ear. After he takes, I go bishop g4. The reason why I don't, this is what I want to tell y'all. The reason why I don't go h3 right away is because after he takes and I take, he could go king g2. After you come back, then he could just exchange off, the rook, where y'all fighting for the h file. I don't want my opponent to fight for. I don't want to fight for the h file at all. If it's my h file, it's my h file. It's going to be just like that. So that's why I don't go bishop h3 right away. I just go bishop g4. I want to keep this king trapped in the corner as much as possible, or as long as possible. So when he takes, I go bishop captures d6. He goes knight c3. I go queen d7. Bishop f4 is what he played. I play castle queen side. He takes, and I go bishop h3. Yes, guys, I do not take the dark square bishop. I do not take the dark square bishop. Y'all probably like, man, you crazy. Yeah, call me crazy. Call me Crazy Joe. But yeah, he goes back to bishop f4, thinking everything is good. I go queen g4, where my rook is attacking the queen. I guess he kind of felt like, it's kind of like a done deal after this. For instance, if he moves his queen out the way, I'm going to automatically go bishop captures g2. If he does take, then queen h3 check, and then this is checkmate, pretty much. So it's not like I really gave up or sacrificed a piece. I pretty much get it back either way. But in this position, guys, my opponent decided to take off, my rook anyway. Give up his queen for the rook. I go knight captures the rook. He goes rook d1. I immediately go bishop captures g2. Instead taking, he goes knight e5. I go queen h3, where I am threatening checkmate on h1. Rook captures, I take rook d1, and I just go king e8. Simple as that. F3, I go g5, and the reason why I go g5, guys, because it's pretty much wanting to see where this bishop will go. But little does he know, when he did take, he got hit with the move pawn f6, where I'm forking both of the pieces. He goes knight g6, which is a pretty nice move, where he's hitting my rook. But I go queen captures g3 because I found a better threat. He does take my rook, and I just go bishop h3, and this is pretty much game over. King h1, queen g2 is checkmate. All right. Now, this one really has nothing to do with the h5, h4 pawn moves, but this is kind of like a bonus thing. So I just want to show y'all this real quick. I really like this game, so I just had to show y'all. All right, so in this game, this is kind of like the stuff that I teach y'all, or at least I teach in my university, the Maurice Bishop Chess University. I'm gonna show y'all e4, d6, knight f3, e5, knight c3, and then bishop g4. D4 is played. I go knight c6, d captures, and then queen d7. E captures d6, bishop captures d6, bishop e2, and I castle queenside. All right. So bishop e3 is played, and I play queen e7. I go queen e7 because I have the rook on a d file, and I have some threats that I want to do. Maybe something like bishop b4, maybe with a discovered threat. All right. Queen c7 or queen c1 is played. I play knight f6, where again, guys, I'm putting pressure on the e4 pawn, where I could potentially take it. He castles kingside, and I go h5. All right. So if you look at this position, you know, black has a lot of activity. It has a lot of developed pieces. Everything is towards, you know, this king side, you know, and of course, guys, the principle is if you have 3 or more pieces surrounding the king, you can definitely start an attack, especially when you got a rook that's ready to move up ranks or whatever, if need be. It's pretty much a good sign. Knight d5 is played, in which pretty much a bad move because I go queen captures e4. My opponent goes knight captures f6, and I go g captures f6. The worst thing that you can do is give your opponent an open g file. You know, which I have the potential to open up the g file, which it could get very, very ugly, guys. Very, very ugly, right? And I'm gonna show you how ugly this could be. My opponent decided to play h3 because I have this g file, and I don't really have an h file yet because the opponent's in front of it, but I do have this g file, as y'all can see here. And again, when you have 3 or more pieces surrounding the king, you definitely have an attack coming. So what do I do in this position? I actually go bishop captures h3, opening up the king side. My opponent goes g captures h3. What do I do? Rook h g8. Now I'm getting the g file now. All right. He goes king h1, and I go queen f5. Why queen f5? Because the king cannot go to the square because of the bishop controlling the dark square. The king cannot go g2 because the rook is controlling that whole g file. This is what I talk about, the importance of having an open g file and the importance of having a strong diagonal. Very important, guys. So that's why I go queen f5, threatening queen captures on h3 check, right? And eventually it will be checkmate. He defends with knight g1, which, you know, trying to defend this pawn. But again, guys, his king is so open, it doesn't really matter what he does or how he defends, because I'm like Tao, I want to sack everything, guys, which is why I played the move rook captures g1 check, guys. Of course, the only thing he can really do is take. He takes rook g8 check again, guys. And obviously, guys, if he goes back to king h1, then obviously, guys, this would be checkmate, as you can see. So what does my opponent plays? My opponent plays bishop g4. bishop g4, he plays. And then what do I do in this position? Like I said, I'm like, Tom, let's sack everything. Rook captures g4, check. Rook captures g4, check. Again, guys, this is still, doesn't matter what he does. If he doesn't take, I have queen f3, check. This is checkmate. I'm sorry, checkmate. Yeah. But of course, in the game, my opponent does take the rook. I go queen captures g4, check. He goes king h1, queen h3, check. King on g1, and then queen h2 is checkmate. All right. So this was like a bonus game I wanted to share with y'all. Pretty dope game here where everything is sat. So I love it, guys. So again, guys, for all the other ones that y'all have seen in the beginning, the early h5 h4 or the early h5 h4 pawn moves is definitely very tactical if you know how to play it. Again, for all y'all that just now looking at it, you'll be able to go back to my lives and actually look at this video or this stream. So if it's something that y'all want to play, which I'm pretty sure after y'all watch these, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are going to want to play these type of games. And the fact that you can literally play this anytime. Like everybody plays G3, everybody plays G6, everybody always try to fanchetto. So it's like once they do that, you could immediately just start the H4, H5. And I already showed y'all what y'all can do, or the ideas and techniques y'all can do if they decide to go H4. And I'm pretty sure I showed y'all with where is that one? Was it this one? No, so this is the one I already showed y'all about, rook captures, how deadly this can be. Man, this is just so deadly. Knight e3, because if he goes right here, knight captures e3. Can't take because the queen is pinning this pawn on f2. So definitely stuff to look at, guys. I'm telling you, this is very, very strong. Very, very strong stuff, man. So I know a lot of y'all don't want to play. Again, I know a lot of y'all don't want to play these type of moves. He takes, because y'all scared like, hey, I'm down a rook, what I'm going to do. But the thing is, if you're good with tactics, you should do fine. Even though you're down a rook, but it's just so much activity and so much piece play that you can do when you're playing this opening. Especially if they go d5, I just think they just help you out even more. Especially after this bishop e3 move, because you pretty much get a tempo off of this. Crazy stuff, guys. Very crazy stuff. Knight f6, queen c1, knight g4, threatening mate. And then if rook f1, queen captures h2, you're threatening this bishop right here. It's just not, man, I'm telling you. And then if he goes there, knight d4. If he takes, want to exchange, because that's one of the principles, if you're down a rook, or if you're up a rook, you want to change all the pieces down. But in this case, this doesn't really work that way because it's so much pressure and it's so much attack. Bishop captures g4, hitting this. You can't go here because this is checkmate. Knight c3, you want to defend. Then bishop h3. Now we could get a rook back. We could get a rook back. So it's like you're not really down a rook. You can get it back. So it's just telling you guys, this is good stuff, man. So again, I'm not gonna go over all this stuff because, like I said, I already just went over it. I'm pretty sure, guys, if y'all go on my channel, y'all will see the times of the streams. I know a lot of it says 11:30 to 1 o'clock. The start time of the stream, normally that would be the time of the start of the stream, but not all the time that I went all the way up to 1 o'clock and everything. Because again, guys, I'm still at work. I try to, give a little bit of stuff, before I do my lunch, because I'm actually 7 minutes over my lunch. So I have like an hour left. So I'm going to definitely do that. But anyway, guys, after y'all watch this, if y'all like the way I play, y'all like the style, y'all want to learn more stuff about the openings I play, make sure you enroll yourself in the Maurice Bishop Chess University and definitely check it out. Also, on that note, guys, on my, so what I have here, so 6:30 to 7:30, I'll be streaming again. So guys, pay attention to this. Right here, this was today. 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Obviously, I'm not doing all the way to 1 o'clock. Sometimes I will do it, but in this case, I'm not doing it to 1 o'clock today because I have some stuff that I have to do. Um, but here 6:30 to 7:30, I will be streaming evening, and obviously, guys, I won't be in this uniform at all. So just so y'all know, I'll be home and everything. But on this stream, guys, I will actually be talking about the Eurosolve Gambit. So I didn't forget about that person that actually do a video on that. So I am doing a video on the Eurosolve Gambit. So I will be doing that this evening, 6:30 to 7:30. All right. So again, guys, I'm glad that y'all came and checked out my stream. Very, very awesome and everything. If you like this video, make sure you like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. And also, guys, this is your first time even being on here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on that notification button. All right. All right, guys. Peace.